see Owen's backpack. What color is it?
There's many pieces. There's many black backpacks.
Hey, fixed it.
Yeah! Check to see if these ones go.
Here you go. Robbie, I don't know how to turn off the phone. Oh, there you go.
See, you should take a picture of this.
No, I'm recording that.
Hey, come on. Come on.
We can't go yet. Don't go yet.
Yeah, so let's keep it clapping.
No, we have to take
Hey, you can't stay right there. This is going to be fun.
Not for his presentation.
Oh, no, it's going to be fun for all of it.
Middleton, Vasquez, and Cohen, and Lynn. Anybody not in that class? Anybody else? Who else? Okay. You guys take attendance? It's going to be a tight room, so get situated.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am not here today to present to you a collection of assignments from a group of teachers, but rather to present to you myself, and attempt to do so in such a fashion that satisfies said aforementioned teachers. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, to believe in something and not to live it is dishonest. And that being said, these are my morals. Most of you will probably recognize this fairly quickly. This is what I believe is right, despite a lot of persuasion, or rather dissuasion, by many, many, many others. I still believe that this holds completely true. And this would be why most of you who have asked the question in the back of your mind, why does this kid think that he is above all of the rules? This is the reason, by vast majority, that I have thought myself pretty much not subject to them. The graph on the left displays a typical American life divided by total lifespan and then the number of years or months that person will spend in each segment. Life, notice, is in quotations, as that is what most people refer to when they say when you get into the real world of life. As you can see, my graph on the right is quite substantially different. Thus, I have pretty much come up with my own rules as they pertain ethically and logically to my individual lifestyle. As you might have started to infer so far, forget what you think you know. And I mean that, genuinely forget it, in that you think we need money, jobs, wrong. To expedite this process, suffice it to say, just trust me for a few minutes. Just open your mind for 1,109,490 of your life. I feel like you can spare that much from me. After that time, question every notion that I have put forth, but for a brief period of time, I ask you to remain open-minded. That being said, we can discuss my plans. Although fairly simple, it is based off of an old saying for the most part. You probably heard the old campers saying, leave it better than you found it. However, rather than applying this to an old campground or worn out trail, however, I do love those, I apply this to the earth itself. I have made it my mission in life to make this world the way I wish it had been when I entered it, for all of those who will do so in the coming days. I feel that this is an example of critical thinking, as it is defined as the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue to form a judgment. The boat being my solution, and for any of you who have talked to me pretty much at all, you'll probably know what I mean when I refer to my boat. It was in the previous slide. It's a self-sustaining craft that I designed and have been planning with for a long, long time to live on. This graph displaying the issue, it is actually to scale. I actually did my homework on this one, which will probably surprise any of the teachers I've had. This is the Woodland Hills remodel, which is a project that the company I work for, MSI Construction, has been working on, and pretty much everyone else who works at that company with me has had their part in reforming this house, myself included. It has been a full collaborative effort, so I voted this into collaboration. This is my design for an earth ship, which is a self-sustaining, ecologically friendly house. This was designed for my grandmother, and as she lives quite far away, I was unable to keep in constant contact. So I had to develop some better communication skills to actually be able to form entire remodels, even though we were only in short contact each time. So I would ask for notes, adjustment criteria, and everything that I could to get it to better suit her until it was actually a finished product. This is my design for personalized space travel. It consists of 3 reusable stages. First is dual pulse jet engines to build speed, a central scramjet engine to drastically increase speed, and then once out of the atmosphere, it has 4 independently moving ion thrusters of my own design. On paper, it does actually work as far as the thrust to weight ratio and such. Clearly by the fact that I'm giving this presentation on the ground today, and I have not got a chance to test it. There we go. Now, this is how this place should look. No lines, no borders, no walls, no countries, no law, no taxes. Just the earth. Equal equally shared by all its inhabitants, each one checking one another to maintain the balance in this intricate, delicate, beautiful system. I have made it my goal in life to make it look like this again by the time I am no longer in it. And these are some relevant quotes to me. I live by them, and I felt that they deserved a special place in silence out of my respect for them. I genuinely do live by these. And they're out of many more. There's hundreds of these, but I think there's a few very good ones. I have been working for MSI Construction for some time now. I have been a general laborer for them. So that's the what participation. With no small amount of difficulty between some fairly ridiculous, in my opinion, rules that all but prohibited my obtaining the job in the first place to many long trips to LA and back just for brownie points because the number of hours I was able to spend there weren't even enough to cover gas. And I do it because I genuinely enjoy creation in all its forms, be it organic, artistic, or physical. I love making things, and so construction has been a perfect fit for me so far. Plus, I must say it is really fun to smash things with a hammer. However, speaking of making things, I say let's take a little tour of my website. Or not now. Starting with the home page. Everything on here that you see was actually designed by me. None of them were stock images or anything. I generated and photoshopped all of the images and logo, everything. And here I tied all of the artifacts just directly to their origin brand. The resume doesn't show up here unless you open it there, which I believe that about does it. Thank you all very much.
Cole, at the beginning of your presentation, you said you were going to present to us 4 artifacts. How come you did?
I didn't say I wasn't going to present you 4 artifacts. I said I wasn't going to present a whole bunch of assignments that were collectively assigned to me by a bunch of teachers.
Was that the assignment?
Right ways. I did say I was going to try to do so in such a fashion that satisfied said aforementioned teachers.
No. The assignment was to present 4 artifacts that demonstrate your ability to be creative, think critically, communicate, and to collaborate. It sounds like you did that.
Fair enough, but I succeeded.
Within the scope and parameters of our assignment.
As you said at the beginning.
Awesome. See, it wasn't that hard, was it? But why did we need to take a week and a half off of school?
Because I didn't do any of it until last night? Most of it? Until around 3 a.m.
You did your website about a month ago.
The website, correct, yeah. And I had a little bit of a template for the presentation, kinda. But I'll say collectively, before last night, I spent roughly 2% of the time that I actually spent on it last night.
Okay. So the
98% of it or so was done last night.
awesome. So from that, what have you been doing over the last week and a half that you haven't been in school?
This?
You just told me you did it last night.
Yes.
I'm asking you what you've been doing for the last week and a half that you haven't been coming to school.
That was part of the 2% time.
Our math is not a strong point right now. I'm trying to figure out what you were doing instead of coming to school.
Well, most of those days started with me waking up already too late to get to school, and then I determined, well, let's see, it's presentation week, so I'm not actually going to be allowed to do any work if I do go to school. So I figured I'll stay home, actually do some work, and then a good portion of the day spent actually at work.
So you chose to go to work instead of come to school.
No, I still kept my regular hours actually at work. I'm just saying it's a large portion of the day.
Okay. What did you do last week?
I don't know. My memory doesn't go back much farther than breakfast.
You weren't at school.
I genuinely don't remember that.
I can pull the attendance report. You weren't. And you weren't in your economics course either.
Oh, you're saying in your class. No, I wasn't in physics.
Yeah. So here's the challenge. You have a final that's due on Tuesday
All right.
in economics.
Yeah.
But you haven't started.
I hadn't started this one until like last night.
Yeah, well, the requirement of the final or the components of the final take 2 weeks to accomplish.
Is it the stock thing?
Yeah.
I've been doing that.
No, you haven't.
I've been on the whatever.
You were never here to join the correct game.
I know, which is why I went on the classroom and got the game code and joined the game.
As everybody who's been in economics class knows, that's the wrong game.
Alright.
So, the challenge for you moving forward is not this presentation, it's how are you going to pass economics. There are a collection of other assignments that have been assigned and that are on the classroom that you have not done. And if you cared enough about graduating, you'd probably come to school.
Probably.
So why did you even do this?
As I said, it wasn't to present a group of assignments. It was genuinely to present to them, me.
I'm going to quote you in your thesis. Is this your thesis?
I believe.
About, it doesn't have a title, it just starts with ladies and
That would be
gentlemen.
great, yeah.
This is your thesis?
Yeah.
And this fulfills the requirements that Ms. Renteria has set forth for you?
I don't really know. Again, I did it at 3 a.m. I don't even remember writing out half of it.
Is this, barring confidentiality issues,
I don't
The
know.
format is not.
okay,
And
so
I have not had a chance, this is the first time I saw it, so I have not had a chance to read it.
so there might be some challenges for you moving forward in English class as well, just based off that bit. Let me find the quote. Help to educate the world, we must change our ways. We must heal the earth. We must begin to invent. If we do not come up with solutions and implement the ones we already have, we will die. Why are you escaping the middle of the ocean and not helping to educate the world?
See, the boat doesn't sit in the middle of the ocean. It is a method of transport, almost more than a method of housing. I will be going to places like South Sudan, or pretty much any of the other countries.
How are you going to get to South Sudan on a boat?
Now, well, like I said, it's one method of transportation. Yeah, trust me, I was looking into that one. But then again, by then it's probably kind of out of my reach anyways. I'm particularly looking for countries that are just broken down. I'm like the opposite of the UN. Instead of building new countries, I just try to keep them broken down. But show them how to actually sustainably feed and house themselves in such a fashion that they're able to continue their existence without poisoning each other. I'm an anarchist. I don't like things.
Well, why do you want to educate the world then?
Because anarchist does not mean insane, despite popular belief.
What does define anarchy?
A lack of systematic rules or governance.
So what then would, quote, Locke, what would keep the society together?
Morality. Voluntary morality.
How do you spread your sense of ethics and morality to others if that then doesn't include educating them?
It is not the responsibility of one man to dictate or control any other, but rather the voluntary nature of the other. You cannot actually control every other human being, and pretty much no one actually believes that it's right to completely and utterly control every other human being. That's a complete violation of free will, and given the mantras that we've all been fed growing up in the great USA, freedom is a very largely loved idea within this culture, at least specifically within this lab. So I feel that most will agree with me, at least, that humans are supposed to have some freedom, and without restricting all freedom, you can't actually inhibit any negative action within humans. I mean, look at drug laws, for example. You take all of these laws that they've been implementing over the past few decades, and yet still drug usage has not changed one iota, not 1%.
What's your source for that data?
That would be, it was federally funded. I did it during his project, actually, for the poster boards. I have it cited there. I could go back and look at it. Do you still have the board? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can go back and look at it there, but I don't have it on hand.
Also, I'm curious what the source was for the data that you used for your graphs that you created in your presentation. There were no sources cited anywhere.
Yeah. For the graphs. Those ones were a little
So
bit.
you told us that you did your homework and that we would be surprised by that, but you have no recollection of where you got that information. So what's to cause us from, as a scientist, if I look at data and it has no evidence of a source, that's not valid data. Because you showed us you're very good at creating graphics, so why not just put in random color boxes that support your point of view? If you don't have the actual data, it's not a valid graph.
I've never been much for details, but in any case, I did actually look them up. As I did say, trust me for a brief moment, afterwards question it. Glad you were questioning it. Most people are much better at that part than the first part. But
Oh, do you have
I can go
a
back and
past?
look them up again.
Do you have a past, present, future self slide?
I do not.
Website? Why?
I didn't think about it.
Do you have a past, present, future self slide in your presentation at all?
No, I generally avoid my past. I don't know the future and the present to watch.
So, if I was to hand over grading of this assignment to your peers, right? I'm washing my hands of this. The fact that your peers are held to a expectation and they, so far, have fulfilled that expectation, and you're telling your peers that you don't have a key component of your presentation, what do you feel like you've earned a pass or a no pass on this assignment?
As I said, I've actually not necessarily come here to find out whether I passed or failed. However, I'm slightly interested. But I was genuinely here just to kind of present myself.
Just to have your 5 minutes of fame.
I don't really like the idea very much. I'd rather be that one guy with the really great quote that everybody knows, but no one knows who wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, Cole, you've got all the talent in the world that you could offer this world. I hope that you do. I'm disappointed that you didn't take Miss Sweet. I told you that several times this year that I was going to call you out. If you don't thank Ms. Sweet for that, there's a lot of people in this room who have invested a lot of time in you. Whether it's been received or not, I don't think you care. Whether you think we care or not is another discussion. And I think your peers have invested a lot of time in you, and they've been receptive, and they've listened to you, and they've encouraged you to be a better Cole. And I think you do them a disservice by not fulfilling the expectations of this assignment. Those expectations are not checkpoints on a rubric that you just check off. They're so that you can share you with this audience. Chose not to follow those expectations. Your path towards graduation, you know. You have defined it. Whether you pass economics or not it's on you. Whether you pass English or not, it's on you. And I know you don't care, or you care, depending upon the time of day. Your presentation is what it is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I hope to see you at graduation. If I don't, I'm disappointed. Any other comments?
Cole, I don't really know what to say. I can appreciate your creativity. Like to say about as much as I can say about that. Typically, we don't let students present if they haven't completed their APEX. So as of right now, you're not moving forward. Without going into details and confidentiality about what you need to complete, but it needs to be
I have
done.
no preps.
It needs to be done by Friday.
Sounds good.
All the APEX.
Do you know how much needs to be done? How much?
I'm 81% complete in one class, 4% complete in another class, and then I have an entire another class.
Good memory.
Then
This
again,
is awesome.
grand total between those three.
It's so funny.
I almost don't have to say anything.
Grand total between those three classes to get to that point, I only invested like 2 hours. So if I sit down for like 6 hours over the next 2 days, I'm done.
6?
Roughly. Like I said, I only put in like 2 for that.
I have to agree with Miss Ochoa. I feel like this was a lot more than I was expecting. I thought the music was a great touch. I know your sense of music is extremely eclectic. And so I appreciated the fact that you spent some time fusing it into the points that you made, Cole.
Thank you. Notice.
Right? I mean, I understand that listening to the quick lyrics, etc. I'm sure there was a lot of thought into what song, etc., and what part of each song as well. I was able to pick that up. And so this was 100 times more than I thought I was going to see. It is incomplete, so technically it's failing.
It's more or less.
It's absolutely incomplete. It was either incomplete or complete, right? And so as it stands right now, this whole thing has to be done again. Has to be represented again. Which means that on the day that everybody's focusing on graduation, Mr. Middleton, Ms. Ochoa, and myself are going to have to rehear you represent this in its completed form before you're even able to go. That's given the fact that you're going to spend adequate time this week by Friday getting in the APEX classes. What are those classes?
English and 2 semesters of art.
Oh. And you're 4% English,
No. 81% English. 4% art.
4% art, and the other one's in art?
Yeah. It's 2 identical classes.
Is 4% through the year-long course.
Oh. And you have 2-year-long courses?
Oh, it's 4% of the year long.
Cole, we're having a lot of fun with the fact that you have quite a ways to go, man. You still have quite a ways to go before you get there. And all of that having been said, you can spend all the time on Apex if you want, and you can satisfy the requirements that said folk in front of you and implore that you do so to meet a requirement to graduate. I have no doubt that you probably will put in the absolute minimum amount of time to achieve those goals. So that's not what we're going to spend this minute talking about. It's more so a genuine statement of like a prediction that I have, because I feel like you possess that which is necessary to get through life, right? I mean, last night you wrote an essay that is jam-packed with grammatical mistakes. Mostly it is subjective. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is with regards to the format that you followed either. But I think it's you. I think it's genuinely you here. You know, you start out with the essay, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I almost wanted to look and see who you're talking to. But then the more I read, the more I was like, okay, this is Cole. And so my comment to you, my prediction, but more importantly, Cole, my fear, is that all of the crap that you have fed to us could possibly be untrue and could possibly come to you on May 26th and hit you pretty hard. I don't want you to feel like you're alone. I don't want you to feel like you can't seek some sort of assistance if you need it. I don't want you to try to go one course and have it last like a week or two, and then all of a sudden think that, well, that was my plan and this sucks, and go down this spiral. And that's, of course, if it doesn't work, right? Because it seems like you have a plan. It seems like you've been thinking about it for a while. I've been fortunate enough to keep in contact with some of your teachers at Foothill, who surprisingly enough still ask, remember that kid? Oh yeah, I remember him. How's he doing? My answers to them are entertaining. But I do genuinely fear the answer as well. You know, a lot of people felt like I was going to roast you with this.
Myself included.
I think you're doing it to yourself, so I don't have to do it anymore. I think you're creating this pathway for yourself, and I just want you to be careful, because you're not going to talk your way out of real life. Nobody can. It's got to be, I guess, have like a plan B is what I'm trying to say. In a very sincere, caring, and not looking for a response from you way. Really, if plan A, which has been your bulletproof go-to to get you this far in life, falls through very quickly, maybe think about what plan B could be. Because there are people in this world that do care about you, and they've really tried really hard to get you the foundation that they think you need in order to be successful. I think you've taken from all of them and not given much back at all with consideration of what they've done and what they still kind of are doing here with questioning you Really, because what we're trying to do is instill an element of doubt. Not because we don't want you to think you don't have the right answer, but because nobody has all of them. Right? And so
Precisely.
you can go toe to toe with everybody in here, you know, and you can quote with the best of them. But it still will not negate the reality of if you're wrong, you will be wrong. And you're gonna have to figure out another route. Whether it be a house attached to a college with a job, like 99.999% of the people in this world. Or you actually making it to South Sudan on an octagonal shaped boat with however you're going to power it and however you're going to eat. And all of that stuff that you have figured out along the way. I think life will say enough for me to where I don't have to really say anymore. But please take that for what it's worth, which I don't know how much time you'll think about it. But in conclusion, currently you are not graduating. You are not going to graduation unless we see a completed project and Miss Renteria gives us the thumbs up with a passing grade in her class based on what she will read in front of her. And in addition, confirmation from Mr. Lang that you've successfully accomplished your APEX classes. So you still have a little bit of a road ahead of you. But dude, it's after that which I fear for you most. Honestly. And so please be careful with what you do and wherever you go and whatever it is that you're doing. I mean that with the utmost sincerity. Please be careful. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to try to find another way. There are people that do understand you here. They've understood you for a while. But we understand that you're only going to do what you want to do the way that you want to do it. Right? But it's not going to get you any further than where you stand right here in front of all of us. Because you're not graduating so far. And this is unsuccessful. Shake your head however you want. You still have to represent the whole thing in its completed form to us. Just the three of us on graduation. So if anybody has any other comments, Mr. Lang.
Cole, you started your presentation with a list of some of the rules or morals that you live your life by. I want to read a couple other things, and you can give a thumbs up or thumbs down with whether or not you agree with them. A reduction in poverty.
Reduction in poverty.
Don't spend too much time. Just thumbs up or thumbs down. You don't get to editorialize right now. Ending hunger. Good health and well-being. Okay. Gender equality. Clean water sanitation. Responsible consumption and production practices. Reduced inequalities. Peace. Consideration of life on land as well as life in the water. Climate action. These are a list of the United Nations Global Goals for Sustainable Development. And it wasn't meant to provoke that response, but more for you to think and really think deeply about what Ms. Ochoa said, in that you have a lot of gifts and talents to share. You've obviously researched how to make your own vessel sustainable. So this notion of your own inherent interest, I think, can intersect with the world that you do occupy. So finding opportunities for you to marry your interests, your passions, with helping other people. I think that was, I'm so glad that Ms. Ochoa mentioned that, is that, you know, no man is an island, no woman is an island, no person is an island. So your ability to leave the world, your quote was something effective, you want to leave the world in the same way that you wish you had come into it. So do that, but do it with others. So I appreciated the time we spent in class together. You're a challenging student. You don't fit the mold. You don't play the game that a lot of other students do, and that's refreshing as an educator. There hasn't been a student like you in my short experience, nor will there probably be one after you. So you can shift the paradigm as it is in this world. Whether you stay local or go global, you can have a positive impact, and I hope you do. Good luck. Good luck, Cole.
Let it be known I have all intention to implement my plans with the help of others, just not with the help of systems, governments, and other rule-filled organizations.
I'll talk to you personally.
Cole, wait 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, I'm just looking at the calendar. What fund is okay. Oh, 12:45 on Monday. Okay? Will be the next one. Okay? Up in the office. 12:45. You might want to make a note on your hand. Okay? Alright, I'll see you on Monday.
See you then.
Getting assaulted. You did this to yourself. Can you guys stop assaulting each other in the back?